Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. How's everybody doing today? It's Friday. Yeah. Ready for the weekend. Freedom Family Friday means that the lovely, smoking hot, redheaded libertarian wife of AP for Liberty, Steffi P for Liberty, joining us live. What's up, Steffi?
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy that you're here today, too. Speaking of Freedom Family Friday, today is the first day that we're going to have Justin as a regular guest on the program.
That's right.
Yes.
The family's getting bigger.
The family is getting bigger, yes. We're glad to have y'all listening and joining us in here this morning live on the Wake Up America show. Do us a favor, will you click that like button and subscribe to the channel if it's your first time joining us here today. We're a merry band of pranksters and rogues and freedom lovers.
Well, I'm a grifter. I was officially called that this week.
Well, I'm glad to have the grifter in chief here.
Very proud.
Yeah, you got called a grifter because you've been dying to tell this story about what happened to you. Apparently you're not punk rock, which I'm like, what? No.
Yeah.
Stephanie's as punk rock as it gets.
So Green Day, they performed on New Year's Eve. And so they, in their American Idiot song, they were singing about the MAGA agenda.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact words they said.
Because they usually like, no, don't want to be a part of the redneck agenda.
So they're saying, don't want to be a part of the MAGA agenda.
They're so cool and edgy.
Right.
Yeah, yes.
And so I said, as a punk girl, this turns me off. And then I was just like, keep politics out of music. But I really meant to say, keep woke politics out of music.
Right.
I like it when artists are libertarian. That's great.
Yes.
But it's very rare.
It is rare. Although, so this week after that happened, and like there was like 10 million impressions on that tweet
12.
of yours. 12 million impressions on that tweet. No, it's okay.
I got monetized on Twitter because of this incident.
Grifter.
So this really came out in my benefit here.
For sure. It was good. I mean, it was funny because, and then we went back through the history of punk rock music. And
I don't really know much about punk rock music. Just going to be honest.
You don't have to know a lot about it to be
in terms of the history of it.
Right.
I know more about like the Warped Tour, Good Charlotte.
That's when
Simple Plan.
The age you grow up in.
Yeah.
Right. So, I kind of went through the tour of like how punk rock, started in the late 70s and the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked about what it turned into in the 90s. And then we just started ripping on Green Day fans online and calling them not punk and all that stuff. It was fun. It was funny. We'll talk about it this morning. Yeah, Green Day isn't punk either. Thank you, B-Bear.
Yeah.
They're not. They're basically like the Taylor Swift.
Right.
They're pop. They're pop music.
I still like their music, but
no Green Day.
Should I say it now or are we talking about it later?
What is it?
You've always told me not to get too close to my heroes.
Oh yeah.
And so when you actually start to learn about the people behind the entertainers, you might not actually like them so much. And that's what I find with the musicians. When I was on Warped Rewind at Sea, which was a cruise ship full of Warped Tour bands, it turned me off because I'm like, these are normal people. Mm-hmm. There's no magic left.
Yeah.
I want there to be magic. I want there to be mystery.
Yes, it's true. Matt Unruh says Warped Tour age kid right here too, Steffi.
Heck yeah, man, since 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was 13 years old. My first Warped Tour.
So I've told you, yes, never meet your heroes because I've met mine. But I have two new modern day heroes, which I never thought I would ever have again. One of them, Vivek Ramaswamy, who we're going to play his clips here in a minute.
Yeah.
You watched that video of him taking on that journalist.
Yeah.
It was so good. We're going to play the clip of him fighting the white Wokesters this morning, talking about white supremacy. It's good stuff. We're going to play that clip here in just a couple minutes. And then Javier Milei, my other hero.
Okay. You know who my hero is?
Who?
You.
Oh.
You are the only hero that I've gotten to know so well, and I am still turned on by you.
Oh my God. Oh.
Yes. Yes, he's the only one. Everybody else ends up tainted once I find out about them.
Well, there were things that when you met me that you knew that, like, lost a little bit of the shade, the luster to an extent, right?
It surprised me.
Yeah,
because I was like, not who I thought you were.
Well, because
you're still really awesome.
Well, because you met me when I was campaigning for office, and you have to be
Exactly.
like super goody boy there. But, like,
Right.
every man, like real man, has a dark side, right? Like you have like a little bit of like
Violent side or an aggressive side.
right.
Yeah.
Be careful when you say something like that.
Oh,
They're gonna,
no, you're not aggressive. I just mean like,
well, she thinks violent. They're going to think I'm violent
oh,
towards
no,
you.
no.
No,
No.
that's not not violent towards Steffi. But I have I mean, every man has like an aggressive side.
Yeah,
a
like the
dark
alpha side.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like, you know, you don't like necessarily show that when you're running for office or
No.
something like that.
No.
Anyways, Matt Unruh says meeting AP definitely didn't disappoint. Very happy about that.
Oh, I'm glad.
Very nice. David Lee says taint, lol. So we're going to play the Javier. Oh, we're going to speak to. I'm excited about this. We've got a guest on today who's anonymous.
I know. I was really shocked by this.
I don't even know the gender of this person. Maybe they're genderless.
Oh.
They are an anonymous person, Twitter account online, goes by the name of Bowtied Mara, lives in Argentina, big Javier Milei fan, and is going to give us an update on what's happening down. I guess we're going to start calling Argentina down under, but Bowtied Mara, sovereign individual, they describe themselves as, he or she. I'm going to refer to as she until we see.
Until we hear their voice and how deep it is.
Yes, and in Argentina since 2005, big Javier Milei fan, does a lot of Javier Milei posting, and was recommended highly to me from our friends, our mutual friends.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to speak to Bowtied Mara this morning, and they will be wearing a mask. So we won't, not the gay kind of masks, but like, you know, just a mask.
In honor of January 6th coming up tomorrow.
Yes, for sure. Thank you to Quest Fanning, by the way, for dropping a couple dollars in the tip jar.
You're starting off early here. Hello.
Yes, appreciate that. And then Justin Peterson's going to join us at 8 o'clock to talk about Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, property, how the public domain, now it's going in the public domain.
Yeah, so you'll be able to use certain iterations of Mickey Mouse that are now in the public domain, like Steamboat Willie.
We can put it on our t-shirts.
Put it on t-shirts. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can monetize the hell out of that, right? And you make it your own. So
Liberty Disney.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about that with Justin at 8 o'clock this morning. And I actually am excited to talk to Justin about something that's a little bit about our family lineage, which I just learned this morning.
Yeah.
So my grandfather fought in World War II, entered the Silver and Bronze Stars. And I was always trying to figure out what he did to win those, or not win, but they call them earn, right? They earn those medals because you have to do something incredible to get the Silver Star. And he did do something incredible. And we're going to share that with you with Justin at 8 o'clock. A little bit about the Peterson family history. We'll do that at 8 a.m. after we have that conversation about Mickey Mouse. We got so much to pack in today. Not enough time. I know. And then at 8:30, since we haven't heard from her in a while and we couldn't do it yesterday, Daniela Pensack will be joining us. We haven't seen her in like a month.
Her beautiful face.
Yes, but apparently there was, it's a sad topic, of a mass shooting yesterday. Some weird kid who.
There was.
Yeah, some lunatic child.
We'll talk 17 years old.
Yeah, she'll give us an update on that this morning at 8:30 a.m. It's going to be good stuff. So, all right. Well, we know what to do. Click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, you can text the show too anytime, night or day.
Likety-like. Subscribe-y-scribe.
Lickety-lick and likety-like.
George Lickety licks his paws.
Yes.
That's what we call it.
You can text us in at 573-319-1586. Again, 573-319-1586 is the text line. You can text us now. You can text us later. Just don't text us late for dinner. Okay, let's get to the clip of Vivek Ramaswamy taking that woke white reporter to the woodshed. Oh, it's so delicious. Take a look and a listen.
I'm not.
So she says. So she says you didn't say you condemn white supremacy. It's kind of quiet.
You didn't say that you condemn white supremacy. I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which absolutely fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not. And frankly, this is why people have lost trust. And I know you're going to go print the headline tomorrow. I already know this. We already know how your game works. Vivek Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy because you asked a stupid question. The reality is, I condemn vicious racial discrimination in this country, but the kind of vicious and systematic racial discrimination we see today is discrimination on the basis of race in a very different direction. You want to know what the best way is to end discrimination on the basis of race? Stop discriminating on the basis of race. Do that, and you're going to move this country forward. And I don't care whether you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite this country. You people have been responsible for dividing this country to a breaking point, creating a projection of national division. I meet people from the south side of Chicago to meetings like this one of every shade of melanin, multiple, from man to woman, doesn't make a difference, who are hungry for reviving unity in this country. And you, with your catechism that you try to get to politicians to whatever fake headline you're going to print on the basis of this conversation tomorrow, that's what's dividing this country to a breaking point. Shame on you. Look people in the eye and tell them what you've actually failed to tell them for the last 5 years. Own the accountability for your own failures as the media. That's how we rebuild trust in this country. And until then, I don't have a lot of patience to play the games.
I want to see that woman's face. I wish they showed her facial reactions.
I know, right? Oh my God, that is such good stuff. All right, your reaction, Stephanie.
He's right. I mean, I admire this man's ability to just talk on the top of his head like that. Mm-hmm. He is so good with his words. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's so honest, so confident. He does not hold back.
Yeah, he's so sharp. And like I was kind of pointing out earlier, I like that he says what it is, that he's not playing games, because the game is this. This is what the reporters do. It's a trap. They ask you, they tell you to condemn, will you condemn white supremacy? And if you do condemn white supremacy, the headline is, Vivek agrees that the right has a white supremacy problem.
Well, but condemning white supremacy, doesn't that mean you approve of white supremacy?
No,
condemning it?
No, condemn is...
condoning. Never mind. I don't condone it. Condemn. Condemn. Okay. Yes.
Condemn is to shut it down.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
So let me restart that. If you condemn white supremacy, as the reporter wants him to do, then the reporter's headline will be, Vivek Ramaswamy agrees white supremacy is a problem on the right. If you don't condemn white supremacy, then the headline is, Vivek Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy. Mm-hmm. Right? So he's right dead on there that it is a game that the reporter is trying to get him to play, and he is not playing it, and I got to give it up, Rip.
I mean,
go Ramaswamy.
He doesn't like supremacy of any kind.
Well, we like Vivek supremacy, because that's what we named the show this morning.
I mean, the cis white men are the ones that are being picked on the most right now. Yeah. Everybody's hating on them.
Well, here's the thing. That's what he's kind of saying here. We've got another clip of Vivek where he's debating with a reporter. This is Dasha Burns is her name, from NBC News. This is kind of a little bit longer exchange. We won't be able to play all of it, but it's still just as good. It goes by
really
delicious.
fast just because it's so heated.
Juicy.
White supremacy and what happened last night for a moment, because when you were talking to
all reporters want to talk about, all leftists want to talk about is just white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. That's all they can do is just repeat that over and over and over again. White supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy.
Start talking about feminism.
White supremacy and what happened last night for a moment, because when you were talking to reporters last night, you called white supremacy a myth. When someone asked you about Dylan Roof, you said you didn't know who that is. Have you looked up what happened in 2015?
Yeah, look, I said this last night. Invidious racial discrimination is wrong no matter how it happens. But if a Washington Post reporter is asking me almost like a catechism, whatever question I said, I'm against invidious racial discrimination, whatever form it takes, but says, do you denounce white supremacy? It's incumbent on us for us to define what white supremacy is. I wrote my book, Woke Inc., and I've written about the detailed understanding of what the popular understanding of these terms have come to mean. Do you believe punctuality is a vestige of white supremacy, Dasha?
Look,
because if you don't, then
I love it when he turns it around on the reporters and starts asking them questions, because they're not used to that.
We have a disagreement about many of the people who are defining those terms.
Here's the thing. She's supposed to be a journalist. She's just supposed to ask questions and not necessarily, and she can press him, but she starts, you can tell that she's not really a journalist. She's an activist. That's what these leftist activists are. So they're basically like you and I. We're libertarians. We're biased. We're biased towards a point of view, towards limited government. We don't pretend to be something that we're not.
So we're not journalists.
Well, we are journalists. We are, and we're not reporters. Reporters are just people who report what happens.
Right.
We're journalists in the sense that we keep journals, and our shows are our journal, and we do actually break news and have original reporting. Like when we have Bowtied Mara coming up in the show in about 15 minutes.
Right.
That's journalism. And it's real journalism, but we are biased journalists. And
so you're supposed to be an unbiased journalist to be a really good one?
No.
Oh.
Well, you're supposed to be an unbiased journalist according to like journalistic ethics to some degree, depending on like where you go to college. But it's all a lie. And as someone who's worked as a professional mainstream media journalist, I can tell you this: everyone has a bias.
Oh my God, yeah.
Everyone has a bias. Doesn't matter if they say that they're not, because even if you write a story that is completely unbiased and is just a rote recitation of the news, your bias was in deciding which story to cover. So there's always inherent bias. The difference is that
every choice we make is biased.
Correct. The difference is that you and I aren't liars. The Dasha Burns of the world are liars. Let's listen.
Or the written word, or the nuclear family. These aren't my words. These are the words of intellectual proponents from Ibram Kendi to the Ayanna Presleys to BLM that have said these are vestiges of white supremacy. So
Mr. Ramaswamy,
we can't have it both ways.
What you do, though,
we have to have an honest discussion.
Straw man arguments.
It's not a straw man.
Listen to how she's attacking him.
As the best example
Smollett
of white
was the
supremacy.
hottest thing in news in the back of a fake actual attack on him that we have to contend with.
And yet you have examples like the Buffalo shooter in New York just in 2022.
You have other examples.
But you are also cherry picking when you bring up Justice Smollett.
I'll look at all of the statistics. More black on black crime. If you really care about actual crime against black Americans, let's get to the root causes of it in the inner cities of this country.
The Anti-Defamation League tracked a 38% increase in white supremacist propaganda last year.
Who's tracking that?
The Anti-Defamation League.
Yeah, the ADL, I don't think is a particularly credible source when they have cherry-picked information.
So who are we supposed to look to when we're talking about...
See, you can tell, like, this is not an objective reporter, right? She has a bias, and she's an activist. She's trying to nail him. She's not trying to get a story. She's trying to, she's doing clickbait. She's like BuzzFeed, essentially, right? To some extent.
Oh, yeah. She had all her talking points on her piece of paper. She's just trying to get all her words out.
She's no different from us, right? So, like, yesterday I had on Senator Bill Eigel, who I like, by the way.
Oh, I watched that. That was spicy.
It was very spicy. But here's the thing. I gave him some pushback on some of his ideas and disagreed with him. So in some ways I'm doing, something similar to what she is doing, right? But I mean, I'm open. I'm an activist. I'm fighting for ideas. So if I have a different disagreement with Senator Eigel, who's running for governor, then I'm going to push back and say, hey, even this or this or this, right? And I think I do so respectfully. But these reporters, they lie. The difference with them is they're liars. They're liars. They want to pretend as if they are unbiased or, uncritical or just trying to get the facts. They don't care about the facts at all. They don't give two shit. I actually do care about the facts. These people don't give two shits about the facts.
Do you think they really know that their facts aren't true? I mean, I think they truly believe them.
I think that I just think that they're hypnotized. I just think that they're woke white leftists. And I love that it's always these white chicks who are these reporters who are like the most privileged women in the world, who are always like talking down to, she's lecturing to a minority about white supremacy, which I find juicy and delicious.
She hates the patriarchy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. She hates the patriarchy. Yes. Yeah. Oh, God. The things that I want to say that I just can't because
that short haircut.
That little short.
Some other woman probably told her to cut her hair short because she hates her. That nice brunette next to her is like, cut your hair. Dasha,
yes,
you look cute.
Look at there's a table, 2x2 table, federal law enforcement data, which you could say what you do. Maybe we shouldn't believe that either. But look at black on Asian crime, black on black crime.
See, she's not even listening to him.
Statistics. That's a law enforcement agency. 59.1% was based on race, ethnicity, and ancestry, saying hate crimes rose 12.
That brunette chick doesn't want none of that smoke, does she?
She's saying that one word.
Yeah.
People talk over each other. I'm sorry. I know it's hard in the moment, but it's like, just let people finish.
Well, and here's the thing. I think I'm pretty good at that, at letting my guests finish to an extent. There is like a challenge of time a lot of times when you have, especially when you have like big name people, like their schedules are very tight. So you want to try and get to like certain points and things like that.
She all her points out.
She does. And she's talking over him because she's an activist. She's not there to try and find out what the truth is or to like learn his point of view or to try and bring people to a better understanding. She's there to destroy him. That's what her point is. She's there to destroy him. She's not there to learn anything. She doesn't want her audience to be swayed by him. And if she thinks that her audience is beginning to be swayed by him, she's going to pull the plug on that interview, right? But I love that brunette there. She don't want none of that smoke.
I know. I don't know why she's there.
She's
like, what is she doing?
Right there next to doing nothing, looking all sad. Like, I don't want none of this guy.
She probably agrees with him, and she's scared to admit it. Or else that blonde girl would slap her across the face.
Good morning. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Peterson. We're glad and thankful to have you here. Click that like button. Would you smash that like button?
Likety like.
And subscribe to the channel. If it's your first time here on the Wake Up America show, we'd love to have you come back and join us here every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. We'd be glad to have you here on the show, joining us 5 days a week. It's 2 hours a day. It's a great way to start the day, as well as a cup of Founding Flavors coffee. Stephanie, tell us about the coffee.
Mm-hmm. So we have Founding Flavors coffee, which is Founding Fathers themed. So we actually have some boxes right here.
Mm-hmm.
We've got dark roast, light roast, medium roast, decaf, and single origin to choose from. We have Washington's Revolutionary Roast, Adam's Patriotic Perk, Thomas's Painkiller right here, Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, that's the decaf. We also have coffee subscriptions and bundle packages. You can get those at a nice discounted rate. So definitely take advantage of those opportunities, especially if you're a big coffee drinker or if you want to buy some for family and friends.
We appreciate that. You can get that exclusively at ap4libertyshop.com. If you haven't tried it yet, try one box, and I promise you're going to love it. And if you don't love it, I will buy it back from you. You just send it to me, and I will drink the rest of it. So
gladly
get yourself a box. Try several. If you want to save money, the more you buy, the more you save. We've been really excited to see that many of you who are monthly subscribers to the show, who actually donate monthly to the program, have been using your 20% discount, which is really helpful to people who are big fans of the AP for Liberty shop. So if you are a monthly subscriber already, if you subscribe here on Rumble or at our wakeupamericashow.com website, and you don't have your 20% discount code, just hit us up. Send us a text. Let me know what your name is, and then I'll go check the records, and we'll send you your 20% discount code. Somebody bought your Make America Punk Again shirt. With
you designed it.
Oh, yeah. With
you
Donald,
did a good job.
It had Donald Trump on it, Make America Punk Again shirt. And they used their 20% discount to save $5 on it. So it's a great way to save money and to help support the channel here at wakeupamericashow.com. All right, you guys, are you ready to talk about Javier Milei?
Yeah. I'm interested to see this person, this mystery person. See, I like the magic.
The mystery. That's what kind of makes it fun, right? So this bow-tied Mara is going to be joining us here in about 5 minutes, and we're going to talk to her about what Javier Milei is doing. The latest news that I've seen is that Javier Milei fired 22 generals.
Wow.
From the military.
All right.
This is the kind of stuff that we want to see Donald Trump do if he gets elected this year. We're going to talk to Bow-Tied Mara about that. You don't want to miss it. I'm going to go get Bow-Tied Mara, who we don't have any idea who this person is.
I'm scared.
We'll see who they are when we get back. Don't go away on the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. Goose Lodge in Jamestown, Kansas, your home away from home. Choose the comfort and privacy of our individual rooms, each equipped with its very own locking door and ensuite facilities. Or bring the whole family and make memories in our communal space. Snuggle up on our plush recliners or share a meal around the dining table that comfortably seats 8. Our kitchen is armed with everything you need, from a microwave to a full-size fridge. For a bird's eye view, book the Eagle's Nest. Enjoy the privacy, storage space, and its very own toilet and shower. For just $450 a night, reserve the entire lodge. Perfect for reunions or retreats, accommodating up to 8 guests. And remember, Snow Goose Lodge is a haven for kids and dogs alike. So bring the whole family. Book your stay now and get 20% off your first booking using the code WAKEUP.
Expanse of time, a year might seem like a mere moment, but oh, what a year it's been. In September 2022, Austin and Stephanie Peterson embarked on a journey to wake up America. They began humbly, with just 20 souls tuning in, learning, listening, and though challenges arose, like the looming shadow of YouTube demonetization, their spirit never waned. And now, thanks to you, thousands rise with the sun to join them, to listen, to engage, to be a part of a community. So here's to you, and to Wake Up America, for memories shared, for friends made, for the journey ahead, and for never, ever forgetting to rise and freedom. Happy anniversary.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Good morning, everyone. Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. How's everybody feeling today? It's Friday, so you better be in a good mood. But if you're not, you will be by the end of the show. You know who always puts me in a good mood on Freedom Family Friday? My smoking hot redheaded libertarian wife, Stephanie
Hello,
Peterson.
good morning.
What's up, Steffi?
Oh, just so much. I'm loving life.
Loving life, living life, having a good time, being one of the Peterson families. We got 3 Peterson family members today.
That's right.
Justin Peterson will be joining us in 30 minutes. But before we do, we have a very special guest who comes very highly recommended. Our friend Alejandro recommended that we reach out to Bowtied Mara. Several other friends of ours said, hey, if you want to get the skinny on what's going down in Argentina, Bowtied Mara, as he goes by online, will be joining us live in just a moment. But before we get them on the show, do me a favor, will you? Click that like button, subscribe to the channel, come back and join us every Monday through Friday here on the Wake Up America show. It's 2 hours of liberty goodness every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time here. We stream this show live. We fight for economic freedom and personal liberty, which is why we love Javier Milei. Joining us now to discuss, all the way from Argentina, is Bowtied Mara. Good morning, Bowtied Mara. What should we call you today?
Well, yeah, you could just call me Mara. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Glad to have you here, Mara. Congratulations on electing the most libertarian president in the world, in history, maybe ever. So kudos to you for that. I guess before we get started about talking about some of the policy differences that Javier Milei has been instituting, and there's been some big news items lately, especially this one about the 22 generals that he fired. Can you just give us your reaction to the election of Javier Milei? Like personally, what was your take on it?
So personally, and I wrote about this as well in a couple of articles, I didn't personally expect him to win the election just because he had the whole state apparatus against him. So Massa, the other contendant, was already in power, and he was using basically any kind of state apparatus for his campaign. So you would see ministries with, pro Massa posters, etc. And there was like a lot of propaganda going on around Milei that he would, liberate guns and start dealing in organs, etc., which was all kind of, just a kind of scare campaign that, of course, wasn't like part of his program. And I thought, like, okay, yeah, this is like so heavy in terms of, also the funding, because they were getting funding from China, from Brazil, in order to bump his campaign. So I thought, well, he's probably not going to win. But then, like, the pre-elections were so close that Massa almost won, that I think that was actually the best moment for Milei, because then everybody sort of realized, oh no, shit, this guy actually, Massa could become president, and nobody wanted that. So yeah, it was a resounding victory, almost 60%, like 56. So very positive overall, and it's been carried a lot by younger people. So back a couple of years back, Christina Kirchner, former president, she lowered the voting age to 16, thinking that, of course, through the state doctrine of education, etc., all these younger people would vote for Peronists. But in the end, it turned out that like 90+% of those younger people, they all have internet, and they started voting for Milei or checking out his videos, etc. So they're like really the new base of like, we want economic freedom in Argentina.
That's amazing. Congratulations to the young.
Cool that your voting age is 16.
Well, yes and no. I mean, well, here's the thing. If they had done that here in the United States, then maybe Ron Paul would have been president of the United States, because remember how many young people loved him.
I was a young person, yeah.
And I can't tell you how many people, when I ran for president in 2016, Stephanie, have come up to me and would be like, I was 15 when you ran, and I would have voted for you, Austin, but I was too young. But that's what happens. Liberty is a very young idea. It's exciting to people, because it's so radical and wildly different than what we're used to with the authoritarianism in the United States, the authoritarianism in Argentina, young people can see it. They see that hypocrisy from politicians, and they want to do something about it. But I think a lot of times people get old and they get jaded and they get cynical and they think, oh well, I'm just going to go do what I has always done because there's no way to make change. Young people believe that they can make change, and so that really backfired on them. That's an incredible story. We're speaking to Mara, bow-tied Mara, right now, and Anon from Argentina about Javier Milei. Let's talk about this news about Javier Milei. Javier Milei fires 22 generals. This is a massive shakeup for your military, is it not?
Yes, it is, and just like the military and any kind of ministry in Argentina, everything is filled with a lot of ideology, political ideology, and a lot of Peronism throughout the years. And basically, this is one of the ways to try to dumb that down a little bit. He didn't fire them completely; they're put on inactive, but that's the way I read that news, basically. So we'll have to see like what happens eventually if they end up being fired or not. But yeah, it's definitely big news, and that's also one of his spear points because Argentina has been really lacking on the military front, and of course, there's no big international conflicts that Argentina that face Argentina, but still, it would be nice to be able to protect the country a little bit better, just because we have issues with illegal fishing from a lot of Chinese fishing going on right outside of the Argentine Sea, and just being able to protect the borders a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. So, Stephanie, we watched The Crown recently, that episode, when Margaret Thatcher had the UK had the war with Argentina. This was over the Falkland Islands. And the the Argentine military was not strong enough to defend their sovereignty from the United Kingdom, and so the UK still now controls that as a protectorate. And Argentina, of course, would like to be able to defend their borders as well, but their military hasn't been strong enough to do so. Now, here in the United States, we've seen the military be very political, coming out against Donald Trump, actually working against the president of the United States, which they're not supposed to do. I imagine that Javier Milei is trying to avoid similar problems that Donald Trump has. But speaking of Donald Trump, bow-tied Mara, I've been contacted by members of parliament, essentially Congress people from Buenos Aires, one gentleman by the name of Agustin Romo, and telling me, and some people have said, some other libertarians from Argentina have contacted me and said, oh, well, he's just a conservative. Do you think Javier Milei supports Donald Trump? There are some policy differences between the two of them, but do you think that Javier Milei actively wants Donald Trump to win the election this year here in the United States?
Yeah, definitely. And there are some, big differences between Trump and Milei. It's mainly mainstream media that really tries to put Milei in the same box as Bolsonaro and Trump. But at the same time, Milei and most of his group are very much pro Trump and Bolsonaro as the alternative for what's in power now. So that's definitely the case. I even think he also sent an invitation to Donald Trump to come down to Argentina during that inauguration.
Oh, wow.
But that ended up not happening. But yeah, so he's definitely in favor of Trump versus any Democrat. That's for sure.
Do you think they've ever actually spoken on the phone or met each other in person before?
I believe that, yeah, they have spoken on the phone. I'm pretty sure about that. I can look that up, but yeah.
So they've probably shared some ideas together.
Interesting. Well, let's reset real quick for those who might just be tuning in. And if you are just tuning into the show, good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show. I'm sitting in studio here with my lovely wife, Stephanie Peterson, and we're speaking on the Zoom line down to Argentina, bow-tied Mara, who's joining us live right now to give us a little update on what's happening in Argentina Argentina with Javier Milei. I have seen that there has been quite a bit of pushback against Javier Milei's agenda by labor factions down there. He does face a serious challenge, not only from people who want to try and block streets, but also from the fact that his party does not control Congress. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And basically, he needs to make a coalition with Macri's party. Even then, it's only 50-50. So they would still need a couple of votes from the Peronists in order to push things through that need to go through Congress. So it is within 2 years, we have the midterms. And then, that's a really important election to win, which is also hard because right now, these 2 years are going to be the hardest because, there's still a lot of inflation lingering. And with all the cuts, et cetera, like these next 2 years are probably going to be pretty rough on people with peso salaries.
For sure. And I have seen that Javier Milei has said that there will be a recession as they switch the economy from a command economy to a market economy. So I appreciate that he's actually been forthright and honest about that. But in terms of like challenges that he faces, other than the political challenges, he faces economic challenges as well. But what do you think he has to look out for, and what does he need to accomplish in order to meet his goals in the coming years?
Well, one very important meeting is this week with the IMF. Unfortunately, Argentina is not in a situation where it can completely fulfill its obligations without getting another additional loan. I'm really looking out for the next week or so to see how that goes, because there's another 16 billion that they need to pay from a lawsuit for nationalizing the national oil company. They did that in 2012, and then it was a long lawsuit, but they lost, and now the state has to pay 16 billion, which is almost 4 times what YPF was worth at the time they nationalized it. But that money, those reserves are not there, so it's due in 5 days. So I'm not sure if there's any payment agreement with these creditors, but we'll see how that turns out.
I mean, change is good, but it comes with so many challenges
and costs.
So I see why so many people avoid it.
Yeah, for sure. So of all of the things that Javier Milei has done so far, what do you think has been his greatest accomplishment in his short time in office?
Well, even if Milei somehow doesn't make it all the way through his term, the biggest change is that everybody suddenly started thinking about what do things cost, and nothing is free. And even left-wing politicians started talking that way. He completely changed the whole discourse around what things cost, subsidies, where money comes from. Everybody's suddenly talking about monetary policy. Nobody ever talked about that. So that is such a big shift in Argentine politics that I think that is something that will stay.
For sure. Steffi, have any questions?
Oh, I just think it's really interesting that people really didn't know where the money came from before. So did people just think that everything was free? I mean, like well, I know healthcare is unregulated there, but in terms of services, do people pretty much just get all kinds of services for free there? Normally?
Yeah, so public healthcare is free, even if even for foreigners, if you do not, exactly, free. Even for foreigners, if you do not live in Argentina, you're not a resident, you never pay taxes, you can still go to a public hospital, and they attend you for free.
Okay.
Same for universities, for bachelor degrees. So undergrads, it's all free.
Wow. Even
free.
for foreigners, would it be free?
Yes. And there's some.
No wonder you guys are going out for loans.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's why you're bankrupt.
Exactly. There's one university in La Plata which has like 60% is Brazilian, because in Brazil they do have quotas for public universities. They're also free, but if you're not among the best, you have to go to a private university, and those are more expensive. So a lot of those Brazilians to study medicine, they come to Argentina because it's free. They get their degree, and then they go back to Brazil. So in the end, for Argentina, there's like no win there. It
And
only costs
educate another
money.
country's doctors, yeah, and you don't even get the
Yeah,
doctor. Is it
Are taxes really high in Argentina? I mean, for
yeah.
individual citizens?
Well, the official taxes are, but the thing is, like about 50% of the economy is in the shadows, and a lot of people just don't even bother paying taxes.
Oh,
sounds great.
yes.
Yeah.
No, is it speaking of like free? Is it true that Javier Milei tried to introduce a bill that would stop the government from using the word free to describe public services?
Yeah, that's one article that is included in his so-called omnibus law, which is a bunch of laws packed together that he sent to Congress. And basically, that article says like government entities cannot use the word free for any kind of service that they provide.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Nice. That's great. Now, in terms of the coming months here, he's got to try and get a loan from the IMF to meet financial obligations. He's dealing with a massive challenge when it comes to an unstable military situation. He's also got to deal with labor potential riots and shutting down the streets. All of these massive challenges, Bo Tidemar, that he's got to face. The other day when I spoke to a friend of mine, Alejandro Chafua, he actually is from Argentina, he was saying that maybe I should tamp down my hopes of what might actually be able to be accomplished. Do you have like optimism that this could be the greatest thing that happened to Argentina in its history? Do you think like are you sort of like are you as optimistic as I am about the possibility for radical change for liberty, or do you think that it's probably going to be a slog? How do you feel like kind of thinking about the future of what could happen?
Well, I think they started out really strong. That was one of the mistakes that Macri's admin made. That was they did gradualism, and basically it ended up being the same. So Javier Milei started really strong with a lot of amendments, cutting ministries, etc. And I think Argentina really needs shock therapy. Now, the downside of that is that it's going to cause a lot of social turbulence, and that is what we're seeing now more and more, that a lot of riots, protests, etc. And I think that's going to increase because now that prices are liberated and there's no more price controls, a lot of prices are going up 30-40% a month, just because they were suppressed for so long. So I'm not sure, like things are going to have to improve, at least salary wise, pretty quickly, for this not to become like, a lot more grim for a lot of people.
For sure.
It's going to get worse before it gets better, it
Yeah,
sounds
for
like.
sure.
Yeah.
Bowtied Mara, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners, or anything that you think that they should know before we let you go, sir?
Well, if you're interested in learning more about Milei or his policies, you can follow me on Twitter. That's at Bowtiedmara. I also have a blog on bowtiedmara.io where I write more in-depth articles about Argentina's policies and also history and culture. So you can follow me there. And, if you're interested in moving to the land of the free, Argentina, then you could also book a one-on-one consultation at bowtiedmara.com.
There you go. Well, you guys,
That's tempting.
yeah, no kidding. You guys are embarrassing us down there, us Yankees now. I've never been called a Yankee so much in my life other than the last few weeks. It's a reminder that we are all Americans here, North and South Americans.
Yes.
But land of the free in Argentina, I guess that's very tempting. So, Bowtied Mara, we really appreciate you. And thank you for being so generous with your time. And thank you for standing up for freedom. It's been a pleasure to meet you. We look forward to following you more online and hopefully having you back again on the show in the future.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. What do you guys think of Bowtied Mara? Send us a text.
Everybody you interview is so smart, so knowledgeable.
We get such great people on this show. It's like,
yes.
I don't mean to just pat myself on the back too much, but I just want to say it's kind of underrated, like what we're accomplishing here on the Wake Up America show.
Yes. I mean, Aaron Sepulveda, amazing. Alejandro, amazing. Mara, amazing.
Yeah, Bowtied Mara. We get guests. Like yesterday, we had on like a gubernatorial candidate here in the state of Missouri, who's a state senator. And I, I think the content is engaging, not just because, oh, I'm performing in it, it's a good job. But I mean, I think, we're choosing great topics and we have great guests and our content is just is killer. And I think the presentation of the show really works well. I mean, everything's flowing together nicely. I mean,
it does. I mean, I learned so much every day. Obviously I learned Bill Eigels' opinions yesterday, which was very eye-opening. But even for Bowtied Mara, I mean, he's teaching me so much about just how the people think down there. It's like thinking everything's free. It's like here in America, we know that's not true. We talk about taxes every day. We know where our taxes go. Or, well, we don't know where they really go.
Yeah, it's funny to see how Argentina has, they really have given me so much hope as an American. And and I see Argentinians who are retweeting me, who are posting me online, responding to me and saying, and they're talking to each other. They're like, look, even the Yankees are looking at us and wanting to learn Spanish because of what's happening down here in Argentina. And it's got them excited because you forget that like there are still people around the world who not everybody hates the United States around the world. There are still people who look up to us and look to us as a beacon of liberty. And
the refugees that want to come here,
yes,
they like us,
right? And it's kind of embarrassing that now we have to like look to Argentina for how we how we do liberty right. I mean, all I can do is hope that Donald Trump will take a lesson from Javier Milei if he wins. Like take a page out of his playbook, that would be amazing.
It's just scary how things are going to get worse in Argentina. And I don't know how people are going to take that. Well, if they're going to just start giving up and being hopeless again.
Well, at least he was honest. And I did see that there was a group of grocery store owners who came out and said that we know that there's going to be inflation of at least a certain point. We are all going to work together to not raise prices during this period past a certain point to try and help the country stabilize through inflation. So people, when they know that there's hope and there's a chance, they will work together. It's amazing what people can accomplish when they think that there's the possibility of winning. I was watching this really good podcast the other day that was talking about a book called The Art of Winning, and it was just like the psychology of winning. And what they did was scientists like took either two mice or two rats or something, and they had them fight in a battle, and one rat would win and one rat would lose. And what they found was that winning begets winning, like a winning mindset. So that once the rat had already won, it would continue to win over and over and over again, because when it gets into a winning mindset, then it knows that it can win, and it takes that confidence and puts that into play. And when the rat or the mouse would lose the fight, then it would lose and lose and lose again. Losing begets losing, a losing
little
mindset.
Self-esteem was hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Which is funny because just, yesterday, we heard the news that that our congressman is stepping down.
Blaine Luetkemeyer.
And I've spoken to him on my radio show here in mid-Missouri maybe a couple of dozen times. He's been on my program. And some people started hitting me up online and were like, Austin, you should run for this congressional seat,
including me.
Yeah, and you too, you should run. Stephanie was like,
no, I mean, I was hitting you up saying you should run.
Oh yes.
Yeah, some people were suggesting me too. They're like, Austin, keep your show, let Steffi run.
Yeah. So it was funny because because I've run and I've lost, right? So it's kind of like I've said to myself, I'm not going to let these losses define me or of who I am. So I have, in order to keep that winning mindset, you have to believe that you can win, and you have to still fight like you can win, or that you have won in the past, right?
I mean, Abraham Lincoln, didn't he run for office multiple times and lost?
Yes, he did.
Until he won.
Yeah,
and sure. I think that same thing has happened to a lot of entrepreneurs in the world. They've failed, and then finally something broke through.
For sure. And, I did get a couple of phone calls from politicos who were kind of like, Austin, you ought to think about it. You ought to, step into the race.
Sure.
It is kind of a tight timeline because the deadline to file for the primary is February 27th.
Oh, my goodness.
So we're talking about like a month and a half from now is when you'd have to make that decision about, if we were to do it.
Really?
Yeah. And, it's not. When Congressman Massey ran for Congress his first time, I think it was 2012, or I can't remember what year it was, but he when he won, you only needed $600,000 to win. It's a lot more than that now. So it, this is loser mindset stuff, but I'm just saying, I don't know that the money would necessarily be there. Right? You'd have to raise a lot of money very fast.
A lot of people online saying like, I'm going to give you my money. And one person's like, I'm going to move to Missouri to help you. Like, people are ready to mobilize. Seriously.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure about that. You know what? Let's hear from the listeners. What do you think? Send us a text at 573.
I did a Twitter poll. I think it's overwhelmingly a yes that you should run.
There are some people who don't think so. Yeah, but let's hear
Alejandro doesn't think you should. He kept writing on Twitter.
Yeah, he knows how happy we are and how miserable campaigning can be. You can text the show at 573-319-1586. Again, that's 573-319-1586. Let us know what your thoughts are. And of course, you can drop comments, of course, in the Rumble chat as well. We've got lots more great show to go. Don't forget, click like and subscribe to the channel. If you're joining us live for the very first time today, we'd love to have you be a regular guest joining us 5 days a week, Monday through Friday here on the show, 7 to 9 Central Time. The Wake Up America show streams live. Don't forget, you can check us out too over at ap4libertyshop.com. That's AP, the number 4, ap4libertyshop.com. We got lots more great content to go. You excited for Justin Peterson to join us live here in a minute?
Yeah. We spent such nice quality time with him while he was here in Missouri.
Holidays, yes.
It was really cool just to get to know him on more of an individual level, at least for me, because I haven't really hung out with him more closely like that.
Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about with Justin too, for sure. I'm excited to hear from him, his thoughts on Mickey Mouse coming into the public domain. That's going to be interesting.
Because he worked for Disney, so he knows about this stuff.
Yes. So we're going to hear from him about what that means for artists, right? The public, being able to use Mickey Mouse. I think that's interesting. And then we're going to talk to him. He found out a little bit about our family history, which is pretty cool.
I know. He's like the family historian.
Yes, he is.
When he was here visiting in Missouri, he was sending us all these newspaper articles because he got some sort of a subscription to these like old newspapers. And he's just finding all kinds of stuff about this family.
So, yeah, my grandfather was a World War II veteran who earned the Silver Star while he was in Germany fighting the Nazis. And he pulled off an incredible feat in order to earn that medal. And Justin's going to tell us that story. So we've got a lot of really exciting stuff here to talk about here coming up in, just 5 minutes from now. Don't go away. Chrissy Katz joining us says, hey, all. She's from Central Time. First time here. Great show. Thank you. Hey.
Hi.
Thank you. Glad to have
Chrissy.
you here. Chrissy, don't go away. We'll be right back. You get to meet my brother. This is my wife. This is me, AP for Liberty. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here, and we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country. And You know, the thing, but hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupamericashow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupamericashow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
George. Thank you for watching the Wake Up America show with my dad. Today, I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why you should visit Dad's online store at apforlibertyshop.com. Number 1. You can get exclusive freedom-loving merch designed by AP himself or me mom, Steffi. Liberty Laura has made some designs as well, and blimey, they are great! Number 2. Most of these products are so wicked that they aren't even allowed to be advertised on Facebook or Instagram. Modern machine guns and a proper keychain. Plus, our Grover Cleveland t-shirt is so spicy apparently that leftists on Facebook specifically banned it from appearing on the website. Number 3. You're supporting liberty lovers just like you. Spend your money where you earn it, and you help me Pops build a community that supports what you believe. Bloody hell! This commercial is running too long. Gotta run. Bye now. Don't forget to visit apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. How's everybody feeling today on a Friday? Oh, yeah. Lots of reasons to be excited. It's Freedom Family Friday, which means the lovely, smoking hot, redheaded libertarian wife, Stephanie Peterson, is joining us. What's up, Steffi?
In the flesh. Hello.
Hello. And since Freedom Family Friday means Peterson family, that means we've got another member of the Peterson family joining us for his first regular spot on the Wake Up America show.
This is the start of history being made.
That's right. Justin Peterson joining us live. What's up, JP?
I'm doing good. Happy first week of January. We made it.
We made it. Looks like we made it. Justin Peterson is my brother. We grew up together. We love each other. And we've got a lot of the same views. And some people say we even sound alike, a little bit alike. Mm-hmm. So, although he got all of the height genes and I got all of the ass genes. So he's like, he's like 6'3", but I've got a bigger badonk. So
hey,
it's a wash.
We both have a pretty good Magnus booty. That's all I'm saying. We got the Magnus booty going on.
Glad to have you here, Justin. Thanks so much. For all who are tuning in, don't forget to click like and subscribe. Justin actually brought up a really great topic for us to talk about today on the show. He's always been a big Disney fanboy, used to work at the theme park. But Justin, you were really interested in this story about how Walt Disney now has to allow Mickey Mouse into the public domain. What's the story?
Oh, yeah. We had a major public domain drop on January 1st. January 1st is like the holy grail for creative artists because every year you get a brand new like drop of music, songs, films that come, books that come into the public domain, and creative people can do all manner of things with them, whether you're a musician or you're a writer or you're a videographer or any kind of creative. So, you know, what I love about this is that it goes right along with the theme of your show. You know, if you care about freedom, especially artistic freedom, public domain is a great thing because it opens up the larder of creative opportunity and potential to the entire population of the United States. So it's a win for freedom of expression all the way around. And what I like about public domain is that oftentimes it gives the chance for works that might be harder to obtain. It gives them a chance to be more readily accessible because now they become free. So for example, like a copyright owner owns a book or something, well, and there's only, one person can get the copyright and the book's out of print. Well, you can't get the book because it's still under copyright. So, it's a big bummer. And if you think about college students, who want to get a hold of books, it's a big, it's expensive when everything's in copyright. So, yeah, so bunch of stuff. But like the biggest news was that Mickey Mouse, in his Steamboat Willie sort of iteration, was released on January 1st into the public domain. So, and there's a little bit of confusion about it, but
well, Justin, before you explain that to us real quick, do me a favor, reach over to the other side of your microphone and turn that volume knob up about a quarter turn for me, if you don't mind. Yeah, it's just a little too low.
Is that it?
Yeah, there it is. Better? There we go. Yes, okay. Thank you. Appreciate that, Justin. So go ahead.
I was singing last night, so I had to turn it down because my voice is so huge that I have a huge voice.
I can understand that. Yeah. You like to belt it out.
Yes. I do. I'm so loud. I gotta be careful with my ears. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Justin, continue your story, please.
No. So basically, public domain law is 95 years after a work has been commissioned. It's life plus, I think, 70 years for a writer, or let's say if you're like, you created your own work that's done by you solely. But Steamboat Willie obviously was made in 1928, and as well as Plain Crazy, which is another movie that was made the same year by Walt Disney, which features Mickey Mouse and all of these like little other kind of little characters, is now free to be used, obviously with some stipulations. I mean, there's some confusion about, well, what about other versions of Mickey and what can I do with Mickey? So it's really for only this particular version of Steamboat Willie that's usable. But
I'm wondering what the Steamboat Willie
I'm
Mickey
going to pull it
looks
up,
like.
Justin. The audience won't be able to hear you for just about one moment while I pull this up on my screen. I want the audience to see it. Justin sent me this picture here. You can see all through the years from 1928 to 2023. These are all the iterations of Mickey Mouse. Can you see him here?
Oh, okay.
1928. See, he doesn't have any gloves here from 1928. There's Steamboat Willie, right? He's a little bit different, right? And how he looks. And then you can see then there's 1940, Fantasia, all the way up to 2023. You can kind of see how he evolved throughout the years.
So we can only use the 1920 whatever one and before that.
Correct. But in 1929, he had gloves on. So next year, I guess, Justin, people could use the little bit more traditional Mickey, closer to anyway.
That's right. That's right. So next year, 1929 Mickey comes on the market. So what's so great about this is that, artistic liberty here. I mean, you want to talk about liberty? You got total liberty here with what you can do with Mickey. There's been a glut of really weird stuff that's come out. Like a couple years ago, Winnie the Pooh finally entered the public domain, and someone made like a horror movie called Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. Like they made a whole thing where like Winnie the Pooh was like stalking like people in the forest and killing them. It was like a grizzly bear. It's like so good.
Well, yeah, I saw somebody did like a horror movie with this Mickey Mouse, and like Mickey Mouse is like the killer.
Oh, they already started. Like it was already in production, and they were just like, "We're going to drop this on January 1st, as soon as the copyright restriction is lifted." So yeah, they made a whole thing of
merchandise we can make.
Well, just wondering.
Don't tread on Mickey.
Yeah, what about merchandise? I mean, can I put Steamboat Willie on a sweater and sell it?
I believe so. The stipulations are that you have to in some way insinuate that it doesn't look like it's officially like Disney per se, or the little I sent you another little image there of Mickey ears, which talked a little bit about trademark sort of you can't use Mickey in a way that would mislead consumers into thinking that was like a Disney or product or produced by Disney or sponsored by Disney. So you'd probably have to put like a little disclaimer or something on the image or something to be like not not affiliated with Disney. Or
Love your
whatever.
T-shirt. Not associated with Disney.
Yeah, well,
Exactly, exactly. But if
Still.
you wanted to make a book about like several years ago they made this book called Winnie the Pooh, the Deforested Edition, where it's basically like Winnie the Pooh and he's like, there's no trees in the forest, like all the trees have been cut down. But like, if you wanted to do Steamboat Willie, the climate change edition, or
my
if you wanted to
goodness.
do like a feminist retake on like on and have Minnie be like the character, you can do all kinds of stuff. You could imagine Mickey and Minnie dedicating themselves to animal welfare. You could do a whole libertarian like thing with Steamboat Willie, and it's completely under the freedom of the public domain. So
Maybe a little erotic fan fiction, perhaps, if you will.
I mean,
Oh
yeah,
my
exactly.
gosh, I could see people liking
They're
that.
already doing that. They're already doing it now.
Wearing
It's
Mickey
just,
costumes.
it's just now you can monetize it.
Yes.
Oh wow.
The only
So there's
difference is
no-
you obviously. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so there's no way that Disney can buy these rights back again and take ownership.
No, and
Okay.
really
fought
from the
that.
they are actually the reason that they got a 95-year extension on these copyright laws, because they weren't like that until 1976. There's actually a Sonny Bono, when he was mayor of California. He kind of pushed through this legislature to kind of get this, what they call pejoratively called the Mickey Mouse Protection Act.
Oh my
So
goodness.
basically keep Mickey under copyright for a longer period of time. So now there's sort of this 95-year stipulation. But, what's interesting to me is that the Walt Disney Company built its entire brand on public domain works. Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, all of those were public domain works that Disney turned around and made fortunes off of. So, if you're a libertarian, you should say, hey, this is great because it offers other people the artistic ability to make money and to commercially, become successful on other public domain works. Sherlock Holmes.
Disney is also pretty upset about the whole Snow White thing, because the Daily Wire is making their own version of Snow White, and
Right.
everybody was asking, are they going to get in trouble for that? Because
No.
Disney tried to jealously protect Snow White, even though they didn't write that story.
They did not write that. It's a German, it goes back, centuries.
It's a
before the
German fairy
Grimm's
tale.
Brothers. Yeah, I mean, the way we know it today is Grimm's Brothers. But like, if you go back, Snow White has existed in many different cultures. The jealous stepmother. I mean, it's a prototypical sort of archetypical story. But
So they copied at first.
Yes.
But I will say this. The 1937 film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, will become public domain in 2032. So we're only a couple years out from that original 1937 film then being public domain. Wizard of Oz, the film The Wizard of Oz, will enter the public domain in 2037, as will Gone with the Wind. So both of those films will they will belong to all of us. Theaters don't have to pay to commercially to show them, because there won't be any money to be made except for probably the theater, which will sell tickets. There will be no copyright holder to hold them. Also, I found out when I was doing my research on this that there's a thing called orphan copyrights, where sometimes there's a work, but let's say it was made in like 1946, but we can't find the copyright owner, right? There's like, for some legal reason, we can't find out who it belongs to. So they call that an orphaned work or an orphan copyright. And it's a real bummer because, we still have to wait for those, copyrights to expire before we can get a hold of them, even though we can't find who the original copyright owner is. So
Justin-
copyright is, public domain is a win. It's a huge win for artists, writers, musicians. It's incredible. Yeah.
I know there's a lot of debate on that. Like Thomas Massey is the first person that comes to my mind, because he is very much for intellectual property rights. Because I think he has a lot of patents, just because he's quite an inventor himself. So I know some people really like
Wanna
to
protect
have
those
the
things.
rights over what they make.
Well, I think there's a reasonable compromise that can be made, where someone who actually originates a work of art should be able to monetize that within their lifetime.
Yes.
But, past their lifetime, that should then go out into the public, so that people can then, create, iterations of it that won't get them in any legal hot water. Justin, I wanted to talk to you about the Snow White movie in particular, very briefly, before I move on to this incredible story that you told us about our grandfather. It is Freedom Family Friday, so we might as well talk about our family lineage, which shocked me to read this morning at 4 a.m. when I opened up my messenger and saw what you had unearthed about our grandfather. But before we get to that topic, very briefly, I'd like to ask a favor from everyone who is listening to the show. And if you're enjoying it, please do us a favor and click like on the channel, on the video that you're watching, and subscribe to the channel. Come back and join us here Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. All three faces that you see on your screen today are Peterson families, and we are all family. My wife, my brother over here, you can see we're 1, 2, 3 Petersons up here. So please help to support our small business. We are a 2-person show that we basically are trying to build a media brand, my wife and I, around the Wake Up America show, and to expand so that we can spread more ideas that we really love through media and through the arts. So my brother, of course, was one of my biggest influences in the arts, and is probably the reason why I'm right here today. So I offer him a lot of gratitude. So do us a favor, would you click like and subscribe for the Petersons? Do it for the Petersons if you wouldn't mind. Justin, the Snow White movie was supposed to come out this year. I saw this interview with the actress who is playing Snow White, and she seems is contrite the word? She seems to be backing away from some of her statements. She originally was like, oh, this story's not going to have a prince. And it's like, oh, this old story was so outdated, blah-de-dee, blah-de-blah-de-blah. And then I saw her in an interview the other day, and she's like, obviously, this film has, built the Walt Disney Company, and we really want to look at it with respect. She really has changed her tune quite a bit. And now the movie's not coming out this year. What's going on?
Well, I'm not following that story. I was following that story closely last year. There's a guy who literally posts, I would say, almost every single day on YouTube about this whole Snow White debacle. So I'm sure you could probably find him on YouTube to look him up. But no, I think she got ahead of her skis, and I think she thought, here's the thing. Trendy beliefs are trendy. And so when people say trendy things like, we're not going to have a prince and patriarchy, trendy beliefs, people think we've been living in a time up to the present moment, I do believe, where people could just say these things and kind of get away with them. And as more and more people are seeing that the bottom line is being affected, people are backtracking, and they're going, oh, wait, we're losing money. Disney, like Star Wars. Did you see the Star Wars thing about what was it, one of the directors was saying?
Yeah, the new director.
Female.
We want to make men uncomfortable.
Yes.
Oh dear.
And I'm like, I want to make women uncomfortable.
Yeah, I love walking down a dark alley at night just behind a woman to make her feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm just like, come on, like, it's so stupid. But I think there's the Snow White thing for me. Obviously, is very close to the
personal to you
vein, just because it's the first book I can remember reading as a child. It was the first book on tape I had as a child. It was the first film I ever saw as a child. I mean, it was really one of my.
I remember
my favorite.
I remember Mom giving me the book Grimm's Fairy Tales, and reading I think I read that book so many times, wore that book out. Mom started reading it to me as a kid, and then I read it myself growing up. I wish I still had that book. But
you all have such great memories. I do not remember the first book I ever read.
Or
the first movie I ever watched. I have no idea.
We were big on reading.
I also think this is going to sound really woo-woo, ha-ha, hee-hee, ho-hoo, but like, I think because our mom died so young, there was something in me subconsciously that was like grabbing onto these memories just to remember this.
Like a photo album.
Yeah, exactly. Because I just,
that makes sense.
There's a gift of that for me for some reason. So, but like Mom would always say, she'd go, all she had to do to get me to quiet down as a kid, all she had to do would be to go, once upon a time, and then I would just go like transfixed, like I'm gonna hear a story. I just love stories, as a kid.
Oh, we did love stories.
So I'm very protective of Snow White, and I, she's my homegirl, and so I just, I don't like people, because here's the thing: there's something noble and beautiful about the story, being saved by a prince and. Wishing for love, and I think that's beautiful, and that's idealistic.
And a lot of women do identify with that, don't they?
Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, the lady
Tell us
we
about it,
watched
Stephanie.
last week who wanted her credit
One
card.
day my
Well,
prince will come.
I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I never liked Disney movies. I really wasn't a cartoon person. I just couldn't connect to cartoons. I could only connect to like real people shows. But then Rugrats, when Rugrats came out, and Doug, I was like, oh heck yeah. So I really didn't watch Disney movies much as a child.
We did.
I had a
we
weird
had 'em
childhood,
we had them
guys.
on repeat at our house.
Oh yeah, my sister learned how to kick her legs when Be Our Guest came on in Beauty and the Beast. That
Aw.
was like one of the cutest things ever. She'd like learn how to kick.
Be our guest. Be our
Be
guest.
our guest. Yeah.
Maybe
And
it's just the generation I'm in. Maybe we were like getting more away from Disney and more into Nickelodeon.
Well, we grew up during kind of the golden age reawakening of Disney, right? When Little Mermaid came out and Beauty and the Beast. I remember going to the movie theater and seeing Beauty and the Beast with Mom.
oh yeah, that's one of my core memories. I have to tell you a funny story out of the family. Oh, here it is. Public.
Here we go.
We're airing our dirty laundry.
Story
My
time.
our mom had a hilarious sense of humor, like hilariously funny, and she had no holds barred. She was like Austin, like just say something. I and I would be mortified, and Mom would just say something. So I don't know if you remember Beauty and the Beast. There's this whole prologue, right, where the narrator goes, "Once upon a time, in a shining castle, a young prince lived in a whatever." And then so finally, it gets to the end of the narration. He's like, "But as time went on, the beast fell into despair and lost all hope. For who could ever learn to love a beast?" And my mother, without missing a beat, said, "I did."
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, I love hearing about her personality so I can kind of formulate a picture of her in my mind.
I just, my therapist loves her.
I can see why. I think
My
anybody
therapist is
would
always
love
like,
her.
"Oh my God, your mother's amazing," and I'm just like, because usually they'll be like, "Oh, your mother traumatized you. Your mother was terrible."
No, she did not. She did not. No.
No.
So, see, the thing about Mom is because Stephanie and Steffi asked me about Mom a lot, and obviously she passed when I was about 14, so I had her for 14 years, and maybe like 10 of those years you're kind of cognizant to like who she is and notice her personality, but I will say that she was so tough. And she would cry, but I remember just admiring her so much back when Stonegate. She was working the books and running the office of Stonegate on the farm, because I remember hearing her getting on the phone with some of these contractors who owed us money, and she would be just, scared the bejesus out of me. Right, I'm in my diapers, I'm hearing my mom screaming on the phone, then she hangs up the phone, and then she's like, her lip would start to quiver, and then she would cry.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because she was very sensitive.
Oh, totally. And one of my other favorite quotes of Mom's was always, she'd say, "Jussie, I wasn't always a bitch. I had to learn how to be one." It was like,
Yeah.
It's the same
working
with
in this
Stephanie, 'cause
male-dominated
Stephanie's the same
field,
way.
man.
Yeah. No,
Oh yeah, I yell at customer service people on the phone.
right.
But yeah.
But like in terms of like our business, because Stephanie has kind of stepped into like Mom's role with the business for me, like supplementing what Dad was doing with Stonegate. Then ironic that we both have the business name Stonegate, but Stephanie and I work together hand in hand, and Stephanie and I talk about how my mom did the same thing that she does, which I think is just really beautiful.
Mom was not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, she
I
was
like
not
to get
afraid.
my hands dirty. Yes.
Yeah.
I do like
really,
farm
she
work.
she was out there in those overalls, covered and caked in dirt, planting those trees, like doing that with all those boys out there planting. She wasn't good enough to get her hands dirty. Not at all.
Yeah. No, it's true. Speaking of our family, Justin, an incredible story that I tried to find from our uncle who passed away last year, Uncle Bobby, because Robert was my uncle, who was my mother's brother. He passed away recently. My mother passed away in 1994, 5.
97.
97, and she passed away, and so that was our connection to our grandfather. The first person that I can remember who was our closest family member who passed away, I believe, was Grandpa Bill. And I was I actually was telling Stephanie this morning while I was in the shower. I told the story about when Grandpa Bill died, how I remember Mom running up to Grandma Hazel in the hospital, and Grandma Hazel just shaking her head and saying he's gone. And
Yep, I remember
mother and Donna, my mother, grabbed her and hugged her and cried. We got to go in and say goodbye to Grandpa. And you and I think we were in shock because we hadn't started crying yet. But I remember the first time you started to cry was when we walked out into the parking lot. It was a freezing cold night, and you just threw your head back and started bawling. And I think that was when I really started to cry too, because of how close we were to our grandfather. Wilburn Reichel was his name. And not only was he a candidate for the mayor of Kansas City, not only was he a candidate for a Republican candidate for mayor of Kansas City, which just makes me so proud. Thank God Grandpa was a Republican.
And he ran against Bruce Watkins.
Of Watkins Drive and Watkins fame in Kansas City. But of course,
political family.
Yeah, but of course, only a Democrat would ever get elected in Kansas City at the time. But he was a war hero. And I remember seeing the silver star on the wall at Grandma and Grandpa Bill's house when I was a little kid, too young to understand. I remember seeing all of the Time Life magazine books of World War II in his library there. Too young to understand the complexity of World War II and the true meaning of the award, the decoration that hung on the wall that he earned from the President of the United States for his valor displayed in battle during World War II. Justin, will you please tell the story of our incredible hero grandfather?
Oh, yeah. So Grandpa Reichel was in the 1st Battalion in the 80th Infantry Division in the war. And in 1945, he was awarded the Silver Star by Harry Truman. And I found, actually, as I was doing some research on him last night, because, more and more things are coming out online, which is just amazing for historical, nerds like myself who want to collect all this information and keep it for archival purposes and everything. But he was awarded this for gallantry in action while serving with Company B, 1st Battalion, 319th Infantry Regiment, 80th Infantry Division, in connection with military operations against an enemy of the United States on April 6, 1945 in Germany. During a concentrated enemy counterattack near Windhoven, Germany, Corporal Reichel, our grandpa, by skillfully and effectively employing his bazooka and rifle, destroyed a German tank and killed at least 7 of the enemy. His coolness and courageous initiative were major factors in repulsing the opposing force. The bravery and devotion to duty displayed by Corporal Reichel were in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great credit upon himself, his unit, and the United States Army.
Justin, he was amazing.
Oh my
Grandpa
gosh.
Bill, we called him.
Grandpa
Wilburn
Bill.
Reichel.
Yep.
You also found another story about him where he actually ran into his brother while he was there in Germany, and his brother was like a major. He was like a pretty high up in
Wasn't that
as an
Robert?
officer.
Was that his brother?
Yeah,
A different one.
Okay.
That's my mother's side.
His brother was, they were in Belgium, actually. They were in Dinant, Belgium, which is just south of Brussels. They met in Belgium. Let's see, I'm saying, Captain Reich. He was a captain.
He was a captain.
In Dinant, Belgium. Yeah, his brother, C.A. Reichel, which I'd have to look up to see what his name is. But he was in Dinant, Belgium. And his brother, Herbert, so it was 3 brothers, and they all sort of rendezvoused in Dinant, Belgium. So, and that was in the paper. Yeah,
Incredible family history. I mean, one thing for our grandfather to grab a bazooka and take out take out a German tank. Another to then take his rifle and kill not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6 Nazis, but 7 Nazis. And who knows how many Nazis he killed that were inside of the tank there. Grandpa Bill, confirmed Nazi killer. Let's give it
Nazi
up.
killer.
Confirmed
I mean, literal.
friend of the Jews.
Yes, my grandpa has a body count, baby.
Well,
But
the thing is, Austin was telling me this morning that your grandpa was actually a very quiet man, and he didn't really talk
You would
very
not have
much
thought
about this stuff.
bloodlust with our grandfather.
This was the quietest, gentlest, sweetest man that I think you could ever meet. A wonderful sense of humor. He would sit by the window in Grandma's house for hours and just kind of look out in the street and just kind of, but unassuming, not a big personality, didn't come in the room and kind of take over the place, just very unassuming, doing his thing, sweetest nature you could ever imagine. And so that's why this is so phenomenal, because you're just like, then like Dad was saying, like, the greatest generation for a reason, right? Where it's like you have these people that are just like, okay, I'm really nice, but I'm going to blow up some Nazis now. And it's like, wow, like the contrast between those two things.
It sounds like he didn't have PTSD either, which would be you would think he would from all that.
He seemed very well adjusted, right?
Yeah.
Just a loving grandfather and just, an inspiration, and just, God, dude, just wish you could spend time with him as an adult so you could learn more. And this is just another aside. We haven't been able to confirm this, Justin. Maybe you might be able to at some point, but you seem to remember that Grandpa may have also taken part in liberating a concentration camp.
I was actually just going to say that, there was a time when I was in middle school, perhaps, and Grandpa was still alive, and Grandma brought out this manila folder, and it was all filled with photographs that Grandpa had taken during the liberation of the camps in Germany. I don't know why this is coming to my mind, but Bergen-Belsen was one of the camps.
Bergen-Belsen. I looked that one up. The British are the ones who liberated Bergen-Belsen.
Okay. So there was one of those camps.
Now that we have his division, his infantry division that he was a part of, we'll be able to go to that infantry division's war record and find out if he did liberate a concentration camp. Then, we're talking about liberated a camp, took out a tank with a bazooka, killed 7 Germans, saved probably like countless lives of his own.
He was the best friend of the Jews.
The band of brothers, for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Grandpa Bill would have loved you. Grandma Hazel would have loved you as well. We're very excited about the future of this family, and now we can share, we can now share, Justin, all this incredible history with our future generations. So thank you for doing that research. Justin, we got to run. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we go?
Right now, no, nothing. Just having a great week. Congratulations. We all made it to the first week of the year. Keep going.
Yeah. Follow Justin over on Twitter at Justin J. Peterson, at Justin J. Petersen. There you go. Thanks, Justin. We love you, brother.
Bye.
Yep.
See you next Friday.
Yep. There you go. Boy, wasn't that a great story? Good stuff, eh?
Oh, it was. He knows so much about so many things.
Yeah, for sure. And so does our next guest, Daniela Pensack. Going to have to go back to a little bit of the sad news. Unfortunately, a shooter yesterday in Iowa. To find out who they were, why they did it, Daniela Pensack reports live from Washington State when we get back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the 4 olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah. Who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have "Glad You Came Out" and "I'm so happy that you're queer" in the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. How's everybody feeling on a Friday? Good. Well, you're going to be feeling bad by the next segment. No, I'm just kidding. Joining us live in studio, the lovely Stephanie Peterson. How you doing, sweetheart? Nice to see you.
I'm doing well.
You're looking especially beautiful today.
Oh, thank you.
Glad to have you here. All right. Well, we've been missing out on one of our favorite regular guests because of the holidays, because of what's been going on in a travel schedule. We haven't been able to hear from one of our favorite guests. Daniela Pensack is a Turning Point USA field coordinator, and she gets up very early out there on the West Coast to join us live on the show. So I had to have her back on today because it was our first opportunity. Hey, Daniela, good morning.
Good morning, Austin. It's good to finally be back. I know I've been out for quite a while. Unfortunately, I won't be on Thirsty Thursday this week, but I'm so glad that I managed to be on the show again.
We'll have you back on next week, and it'll be Thirsty Thursday again. Yeah, for sure.
And Fridays, it's Fiery Friday, maybe.
Exactly.
Glad to have you here, Daniela. Unfortunately, it is a very sad topic. I'm reading this story. Iowa police are now looking into a number of social media posts made by the teenager who unleashed terror on an Iowa high school on Thursday. He killed 1 and injured 5. What's the story?
Yeah, this is a bit of a more sad topic than what I'm used to talking about, but it is a necessary topic to talk about. Dylan Butler was the name of the shooter. He was 17 years old. This was at Perry High School, and it was also attached to middle school. So a 6th grader passed away, 5 others injured. And he did leave a bit of a social media footprint. He left a TikTok video alluding to him shooting. I believe he left the TikTok video the day of before the shooting. And so there is a lot of speculation about and debate about why he had conducted this shooting. He didn't leave a manifesto. He didn't outline like any of his ideological beliefs or any reasons for exactly why he would do this. But family and friends are suggesting that this was because that he was severely bullied, and that his sister had started to get bullied as well at school, and apparently this got him to snap, and then he conducted this shooting. I'm very speculative of this explanation, of course. I mean, we've all been bullied, some more severely than others, but we don't become shooters. So he did leave, like I'd mentioned, a social media footprint. There is some talk about him also possibly having a gender identity crisis. So there could be quite a bit of mental instability there as well. Although there's no like official proof indicating that, or it's not like officially said by his family that he was non-binary or anything like that, but there's a lot of proof indicating that he could have been. For instance, on his Instagram profile, he had non-binary pronouns, they, them, he, they. He also used female exclusive avatars on social media platforms like Snapchat, Instagram as well.
So I've been seeing some of that as well, that comments that he had made at reddit.com were in forums for people who are transgender. One question that was asked to people in this Reddit forum was, people who haven't transitioned yet, what's stopping you? And his post was, I don't want to look ugly and things like that. So this is very much someone who may not have been steeped in gender ideology, but certainly was in contact with it. Is that correct, Daniela?
Absolutely. He definitely was in contact with it. A lot of kids are these days, but he clearly was starting to absorb some of that and take it upon his own identity, which is adding on to apparently a concerning and growing list of LGBT shooters now, or genderqueer shooters. Obviously there was another previous one of a transgender individual shooting as well, I believe just a few months ago. So yeah, clearly there's a play. This movement of this new LGBT shooters, it's a big playing on their mental instability. And not only that, but they're taking on this progressive worldview that the world is against their existence. And for them to actually have to approach this system or live in the system is basically violating themselves and their own identity by existing in it. And so therefore, they may just snap and try to retaliate.
Wondering too if this is part of a copycat incident because I heard he played a Columbine song in one of his videos. It was like a song that they played, I guess, during the Columbine shooting as well.
Yes, I believe this was in the TikTok video.
Okay.
Yeah, I as far as I know, I don't know if he like idealized the shooters of Columbine, but he clearly did. He clearly did know about him. He clearly did think about him. The telltale signs are there. I'm sure he did talk about him at home with his friends, with his family. I'm almost certain of it. That's usually the pattern as it is with these mass shooters. They idealize. You're right. They idealize criminal actions of of their predecessors. And
Yeah, and I heard that he also watched like Jeffrey Dahmer videos too. So yeah, like you're saying, he's looking up to these people.
Exactly. So the telltale signs are there. And paired with that, obviously he was going through an identity crisis. And once again, nothing was done to stop it. Nothing, he clearly didn't have, from what it seems like, any help from his immediate community. And clearly, like, I'm not saying that the bullying has caused this, but it surely did, I'm sure, exacerbate the problem. And he just snapped.
Now, this is a news and opinion show. So now that we've sort of reported the news on this one, I'd love to get some opinions going around. I remember sort of recoiling a few years ago when I first heard Ben Shapiro come out and say that he believed that transgenderism was a mental illness. At that time, it was not as common to be having discussions about it. And I hadn't been doing as much research on mental health and this problem then as I have now in subsequent years. So I guess my question is then I'd like to throw out to the audience, and starting with you, Daniela, do you think it is a mental illness?
Yes, it is a mental illness. That's how it used to be classified as gender dysphoria, and I believe it still should be classified
It
as that.
is.
Yes,
It's still gender dysphoria. Yep.
Okay. From what I've been hearing, like on just to the public, that they're trying to like change at least the narrative on that, and I think it should still be. Now, as far as treatment goes, I'm not. I'm not obviously in the field. I don't know like how much we should push treatment. I understand that there are some individuals that if they do seek treatment for it, and by treatment I mean changing their gender identity, that helps them. And if that really does help them, then they should pursue it. But they should be limited, I believe, to adults. And I don't think children should be even flirting around with that idea. I do believe it's a mental illness and it is gender dysphoria. And I do understand that as far as the classification goes for like who gets diagnosed for it, it's extremely low percentage of people. But that number is now like increasing with younger people, especially adolescent. And I think that's a very concerning trend. And that the narrative change around what like transgenderism is and who can or cannot be transgender, or like even the rise of transgender medicalism, I believe is a term where there's like this idea, at least in the left, that anyone can be transgender. It shouldn't be limited to just a person who gets a diagnosis. I think that's wrong. I think it should seek medical treatment. And I think everyone should seek medical treatment and get an official diagnosis, and it should be reserved for people at a later age.
Stephanie, I mean, obviously you work in the mental health field, so your thoughts?
Yeah, and you're right, Daniela. It used to be, I believe it was gender identity disorder. So it more so did refer to like a mental illness, but now it's more just somebody who feels like they're in the wrong body, that they're in the wrong gendered body. So yeah, I mean, they're not focusing on it as an anorexia would be seen. You know, anorexic people, they're like, okay, this is a problem. You shouldn't starve yourself. Whereas with gender dysphoria, they're like, okay, this is not a problem. Let's help you transition so that you feel how you feel in your head. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they're definitely allowing these people to obviously make the changes that their brain wants them to make. Unfortunately, this is being done before the age of 18, which I think is a problem. But because people are struggling with these ideas in their head about their gender, it makes them anxious. It makes them depressed. It makes them get bullied. So then we have these school shooters because they're just so upset inside and they have so much pain, they don't know how to process that. And
yeah, and
nobody's
another
giving them the tools to do that.
And another indication for why I think this is, I do think that a lot of it is a social contagion as well. And if I remember correctly, we do see a spike in this like gender dysphoria issue with young girls, particularly, especially adolescent age before they sexually mature or once they hit their period. It's around that age gap, and I think that's for the statistic to spike in that particular age group. We're talking like I'm thinking like around 11 to 14 years old, or 15, 16, around that group. And for it to be female, I think it's indicative that this clearly is more of a social contagion, because women's bodies go through a lot of changes drastically at a very limited amount of time. And so they're just going to be uncomfortable in their own body. But instead of coping with it in a healthy and normal way, instead they're getting fed this narrative that they can at least stop that process, and so they can escape it. And that, I think, is also indicative of this being more of a social contagion now today as it was previously.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's becoming popular. So I'm not convinced that everybody has gender dysphoria who is, dressing as the opposite sex. I'm not convinced of that.
Have you read Abigail Schreier's book, Daniela? The one
No.
about where she really kind of like defines this as a social contagion. It's very good. I'm forgetting the name of the book off the top of my head. Let me see if I can find it. Abigail. It was a banned book. Abigail Schreier. Schreier. Irreversible Damage. So the book Irreversible Damage, it's a 2020 book which endorses the controversial concept of rapid onset gender dysphoria. It's not recognized as a major medical diagnosis at this point. The book is called Irreversible Damage, The Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters. She states that there was a sudden severe spike in transgender identification among adolescent girls in the 2010s, referring to teenagers assigned female at birth. She attributes this to a social contagion among high anxiety, depressive, mostly white girls who in previous decades felt anorexia and bulimia or multiple personality disorder. I remember when I was a kid, the thing that for depressive white chicks at my school was cutting. That's what they would do.
The emo stage.
Yeah, the emo stage. And you would see girls with like scars on the inside of their legs and on the inside of their arms. So is this just like a period of life that women have to get through? And then there's a fad that plays on top of the like already depressive problem? Like it's a chicken and egg question, right?
Yeah.
Are they depressed because of the social contagion, or is the social contagion making them depressed?
I mean, I think middle school is such a horrible time for everybody. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but middle school was the worst time in terms of self-esteem, the worst time for bullying. And apparently the school that these people go to, or that the shooter went to, it's a middle school and high school combined. So his sister does go to that school. Yeah, I mean, bullying is really hard. I hear it gets pretty brutal. I never really had people bully me much other than just, make silly comments, but it didn't go that far for me personally.
Yeah, no, that book, Austin, I am familiar. Is that the one with like the girl on the cover?
Yeah,
Like
and
a
she's
little...
like cut, and it has like it's cut out where her
Yeah.
stomach is.
Yeah, I've heard it. I haven't read it, but I am familiar with that book. And yes, I do know that that book kind of brought out that that idea that a lot of this is targeting young females. And it's true, it is a phase that women well, not all, but a lot of women go through. It's funny that it's primarily white. I guess white girls seek more medical treatment, I suppose, than other minorities. But they're also whiter communities. They also place a lot more emphasis on mental health, I would say, than other ethnic communities. And so that's probably why they fall into the trap of like getting diagnosed with certain issues that they shouldn't be. But it is a very, that stage of development, particularly for females, because they're going through so many changes, it's easy to prey on them. And like you mentioned in the past, cutting was a big deal, or like other physical altercations for your body, though minor. And that is obviously a problem. It still is a problem for some people, but I think what's happening now is so much more dangerous and also evil, because the changes that are occurring in cutting, that can heal in a matter of months, but these changes are long life lasting, and this is why we're seeing now an uptick in detransitioners, particularly for women as well.
Last question for you on this one, Daniela. Because this shooting does not fit the narrative, does the media memory hold this, in your opinion?
That because there is no manifesto, because in the last shooting, I think the only thing that was holding it in the media cycle for as long as it did was because there was a manifesto and they were like going to release it and they're like pushing that. But if it wasn't for that manifesto being released, I don't even think it would have survived as long as it did. It probably would have been for a week and gone. And so for this one, I really think that it's not going to last that long, unfortunately. I hope it does. I hope more people bring more attention to it and who Dylan was as a person. But I don't see it lasting as long as it does. No, not because of his obvious identity crisis that's happening.
Daniela Pensack, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners before we let you go today?
No, not particularly. I'm just gonna say what I usually say, Austin. Follow me on Twitter. It's at Pensack Daniela, and you can also follow me on Instagram at official Daniela Pensack as well. I'd love to get your feedback as well on my postings, and keep you guys updated on some of the news that's happening also.
There you go. There is Daniela Pensack. Follow her over there on Twitter at Pensack Daniela. Daniela, thank you very much for your time. It's great to see you again.
You. Yeah, thank you.
Look forward to seeing you again next week. Isn't she great?
She is. She is.
She's so smart.
She's such a good, informative person.
Yeah, the regular guests that we have here on the Wake Up America show just really are super high quality. So absolutely.
She knows her stuff.
Yeah, she does. If you enjoy the content that you've been watching this morning, make sure you click like and subscribe to the channel so you can come back and join us. What's the show schedule here, Steffi P?
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time.
You can come back and join us 5 days a week. And I know for many of you, it's your first time here on the Wake Up America show. So please do click that subscribe button, especially before you file out today for the exits here in just about 10 minutes, the end of the show. We want to make sure that we capture you before you leave. Also, we'd love to hear from you. You can always text us night or day. A lot of times people do listen to the Wake Up America show audio version, which you can download on any of your favorite podcast devices. So like Spotify is a way that a lot of people like to get their podcast. If you have an iPhone, people use iTunes to download podcasts. The Wake Up America show audio version is available for download. So that way you can listen on the go if you're not able to join us live. And I know many people do listen later and they're like, oh, well, there's the text line. But they're like, if I send the text message, it'll be too late. No, we check the text line anytime, night or day. So even if you're listening to us later, or maybe later in today, you think of something, or on the weekend, you think of something that you want to send over to us, you can do so anytime.
We're always working.
Yep. Send us a text at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586 is the text line. And again, you can text us anytime, night or day. Boy, we've had a great show today so far. We have Bow-Tied Mara from Argentina to talk about Javier Milei.
We're just all over the place.
Yeah, it's a little bit all over the place. It's kind of a variety show, isn't it?
It's a variety show. So share.
Sonny and Cher, exactly. They say our love won't pay the rent before it's gone. Earned our money's all been spent. This is the second time that Sonny is Bono.
I got you, babe.
I got you, babe. Bum, 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 bum. This is the second time that Sonny Bono has been mentioned in the Wake Up America show. I love Sonny Bono. You know, he was a Republican.
Okay.
Do you know how he died?
A ski accident.
Yeah, you did. You know, Steffi.
Might be why I have a fear of skiing.
Check out the big brain on Brett.
Well, the very first time I ever skied, this is kind of a funny story. We were in Missouri at the local ski slope there. And I was going down the bunny hill. It's like the smallest hill ever. And there's this area where you can cut across to the intermediate hill. And I cut across it by accident. I lost control. And I'm literally on one leg going down the intermediate hill. And Austin's following behind me. Apparently I was screaming, which I had no idea.
But you were doing fine. You were skiing on one foot. The other foot was in the air. The other foot was like, Stephanie skiing, and then there's one leg up, and she's like,
I was trying to do the pizza thing, but the pizza thing doesn't work.
It does work. You just I think maybe your thighs weren't strong enough at that point.
Yeah, it was early on.
We've been doing karate.
Yes.
Mighty Megatron is saying Mizzou got ski slopes skiing in Missouri.
Yeah, we
Yes.
went to where was it? Was it closer to Kansas City?
It's called Snow Creek.
That's right. There's a few in Missouri, actually. There's one closer to St. Louis,
It's like
too.
a couple hours north of Kansas City, 2 or 3 hours north of Kansas City, called Weston in northwest Missouri. It's like very tall hills, and there is a ski resort there in western Missouri called Snow Creek. And we went there with a family a couple of years ago, and Stephanie had never skied before, and so she goes up there, and honestly, you didn't do bad. You didn't fall, that's for sure. So that was
Right,
good.
I purposely fell. That was the only way to get myself to stop. I would just lay down on the ground.
Well, Steffi and I, boy, we are quite adventurous. I mean,
Yes.
we've been snow skiing together, which I
Scuba
love.
diving.
We've been scuba diving together. We've been to Japan. We've had we've been married for 2 years, and we've already been on more adventures than you
And
can
we got
count.
together during COVID, so it's like you couldn't really do too much there.
No,
but we still accomplished all these things.
Yeah, we were supposed to have a ski trip to Colorado
I know.
that got canceled because of COVID.
when we were first dating.
Yeah, for
Gosh,
sure.
I would have made a fool of myself. You might not have wanted to be with me after that.
For sure. Oh, Fook is saying, Pixar, it didn't happen. I think you guys dreamt this. No, it's
We didn't have a camera up there.
No. He's talking about Weston, Missouri. He says he doesn't believe that there's skiing in
Actually,
Missouri. Yeah.
I think we took a family photo there.
Yeah, we did. We took several for.
It was for your birthday. I made it a surprise.
All right. Well, I guess it's time to play the sad music.
Go.
Steffi, will you tell them all about all of our great offerings at apforlibertyshop.com? Because we keep adding new stuff. And people just don't know about all the new amazing products that we have at AP for Liberty Shop. Will you tell them about some of the new ones that we have?
Absolutely. So we have custom metal signs, all sorts of artwork. You got your eagles, your 1776 stuff, animals.
She makes it sound so
all
appealing. You
sorts
got
of
your
things.
Jaja, your Jaja, your Jaja.
Well, I'm trying to keep it all in my head of what we have here, all the new things. And then we've got lots and lots of t-shirts, liberty-oriented t-shirts. Don't tread on me. Austin's actually wearing one of our shirts here. He designed himself.
That's right. Yes.
It's this neon gun baseball shirt.
Neon machine gun. Yeah.
We've got coffee, founding flavors coffee, founding fathers themed. We've got the beer stein over here. Less government, more beer. We've got phone cases. I designed this Lady Liberty phone case myself. World War I propaganda poster, Lady Liberty. I'm gonna be adding stuff. Should I kind of tease out what I'm adding?
Yeah.
I'm working on jewelry, you guys. So like imagine giving your lady love a necklace for Valentine's Day that says, make taxation theft again, or end the Fed. I mean, how much do you think she would love that?
Look at all these awesome mugs. Make taxation theft again. Coffees, Thomas Jefferson, the favorite drink of the civilized world. Whiskey glasses, George Washington, tax this dick whiskey glass. Donald Trump, Thug Life, Lulbertarian, Calvin Coolidge, Pepe the Crusader Knight. Boy, we sell a lot of Pepe stuff, don't we?
Yes, and we have Tiny Patriots. We have a kids line, so toddlers, babies. If you're going to a baby shower, if you got a new niece, nephew, child, whatever, we got that. Oh my goodness. We also have 3D printed items. We print items in our house. We have keychains.
Backpacks, tennis shoes.
Yes, tennis shoes. I wore my American flag tennis shoes all the way around Japan, and they felt great.
We love it. We have men's and women's. Also, nobody has seen these Quackers and Packers canvas boots. So these are kind of cool. Quackers and
designed that pattern.
You made the pattern design,
I did.
for sure. You can get
boots.
Quackers and Packers canvas boots. Check it out with guns and rubber ducks. I don't know who would wear that, but
Austin just designed a new Hawaiian shirt.
Yes.
That looks like it's like cheetah print, but it has hidden guns on it.
Yes, it has AK-47s all over the pattern design. You can get those all exclusively at ap4libertyshop.com. Check it out at ap4libertyshop.com. We'll see you guys on Monday on the Wake Up America show. Say goodbye, Steffi.
Be free.
See you on Monday on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Expanse of time, a year might seem like a mere moment, but oh, what a year it's been. In September 2022, Austin and Stephanie Peterson embarked on a journey to wake up America. They began humbly, with just 20 souls tuning in, learning, listening, and though challenges arose, like the looming shadow of YouTube demonetization, their spirit never waned. And now, thanks to you, thousands rise with the sun to join them, to listen, to engage, to be a part of a community. So here's to you, and to Wake Up America, for memories shared, for friends made, for the journey ahead, and for never, ever forgetting to rise and freedom. Happy anniversary.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit petersonvoicestudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.